Forget Rich and Famous. By Danielle Sainte-Marie. I took the old wooden steps to the front door in one bounding leap. I jiggled the doorknob open and burst through the hallway, sliding along the entryway rug. In the living room my sister, Sissy, was still watching that corny cartoon, Girls in Space. "Sissy!" I shouted. "Shut up, buddy!" She fired back. "I'm watching my show." "Sissy," I insisted, ignoring her request as usual, "you'll never believe what I just saw." "You're always making up stories," she said, already sounding bored with me. She still hadn't taken her eyes off the TV screen. "But this is real," I furthered. "Yeah, right," she muttered in an offhand way, seemingly transfixed by the TV. Wow, she really likes that stupid cartoon a lot, I thought. I went over and stood in between the TV and where she was lying on her stomach on the floor, so I could block her view completely. "Mom!" she yelled in that high-pitched squeal she has. It makes my ears hurt when she does that. Buddy's blocking the TV and I can't watch cartoons. For a 9-year-old she sure can yell. Before I could even say a word to defend myself, my mom's voice came booming from the kitchen. "Buddy Ebbs! Stop aggravating your sister and move away from the TV." I glared at Sissy a bit but ended up mumbling back, just loud enough to be heard, "Yes, Mom." Instead of leaving Sissy alone though, I fell to my knees in front of her, still blocking her view. As she went to open her mouth again I quickly said, "I just want to tell you what I saw, that's all. I'm telling you, Sissy, this is real. Please listen and then I'll go away, okay?" She seemed to consider my pleas, and was about to yell again but then finally closed her mouth and pursed her lips tight like she was sealing a deal. It's a silent thing between us kids that I don't know if adults do or not. She got a slightly interested look on her face after we exchanged our silent promise that I would go away after telling her what I saw if she promised to not yell for Mom, and so she leaned forward to listen. Beginning. Sissy noticed it too. "Okay," she said, glancing over my shoulder, "make it fast." Okay, I said. My mind was still racing with the memory. I took in a deep breath. "Sissy, yes, come on, tell me, I just saw Bigfoot, in the woods." It felt so good to get that out. Sissy's face can go from surprise to annoyance quicker than anyone's face I have ever seen. "Oh buddy," she protested, punching me in the leg. "Stop lying." "But I'm not lying, Sissy. I saw it, I really did, I promise." I showed her my best promise face now, and she looked at me for a second like she thought that maybe, just maybe, I might be telling the truth. I went on like a lawyer on TV hammering away at a point. "It was huge, furry, and looked really mean, but it wasn't a bear, I'm telling you. It was on me so quickly that all I could do was just run away as fast as I could. I think it tried to follow me, but I don't know, the memory made my heart quicken even more." She sat up and narrowed her eyes at me. She looked like a detective trying to make a criminal confess. "Buddy, you may be a year older than me, but I'm not stupid, you know." Her ragged, brown curls fell across her face as she leaned in closer to me. This time she whispered. "You are always trying to make me believe in werewolves, vampires, or ghosts." She paused and I saw her gulp. I had a momentary sense of pride for being able to scare my sister like that. Putting on that white sheet and jumping out at her from the hallway closet had been genius. Although I thought she was about to tell me why she didn't believe me about Bigfoot now, I could tell by the look in her eyes that she wasn't fully convinced I was lying. "And it was only what? 2 weeks ago that you said you were going to start looking for this Bigfoot creature. You have been saying to me every day, 'Oh, Bigfoot is a legendary monster that many people claim to have seen and I'm going to find him and take a picture and sell it, blah, blah, blah.' Then, you have been scaring me every night with stories, like how Bigfoot crashed his arm through someone's living room window in the Mojave Desert and that this person lives only an hour away from us. North, right? Isn't that what you said?" "Oh, he's been spotted just north of us." "That's right," I nodded, impressed that she remembered all of that. Some woman was home and heard a sound at her front door one night. She opened it up and saw him standing there. She slammed the door and he punched through her window. It's true, sissy, and now I have seen him too. Sissy, on my life I swear that I just saw Bigfoot. Please just forget about this show for once and trust me. I looked behind me at the TV screen. The cartoon was back on and Big Greenie, the leader of the girls from space, was swinging around her head a huge alien-looking type of dragon from its tail. She let the alien dragon thing go and it went flying off into some other dimension or whatever. The girls from space were all cheering and jumping up and down. I rolled my eyes and then turned back to Sissy. Please, I pleaded again. Sissy continued to look at me real close. Okay, she reluctantly said. But, if you are lying to me this time then I'll never, ever, believe in anything you say again. I promise, I said, nodding to her to show that I understood the gravity of her words, and that I still wanted her trust. This is true, cross my heart. I made the heart-crossing sign with my right hand. We looked at each other a moment longer. The promise had been made and signed. Then, springing into action we charged together out the front door, forgetting to close it behind us. I jumped off the top step and landed solidly in the grass, with Sissy right on my heels. Okay, where's this Bigfoot you say you saw? She asked, darting her head from side to side as she drew up next to me. We always loved a good adventure, Sissy and I. I scanned the woods, spying the trail that led to an old abandoned cabin about a quarter mile away. I slowly lifted a slightly trembling finger and pointed down the trail. Over there, I whispered, Bigfoot is, it's down there. The sun was shining bright but I still felt a chill creep up my spine. Looking down that shadowy trail made me suddenly think that going back might not be such a good idea. But, I didn't want Sissy to think I was afraid. Besides, she was known for being pretty fearless and so I couldn't back down now. Still, I couldn't help but drift back to the memory of what I had just seen. I had been heading towards the old cabin, its broken windows dark from years of dirt and neglect. It had a sagging roof and our parents had specifically warned us that we weren't allowed to come near it at all, let alone enter it. Of course, we didn't listen. Just as the cabin came into sight, I heard a rustling in the leaves to my left, and off the trail. Normally, strange sounds in the woods don't scare me because I hear them all the time, and you can tell by how tinny they are that it's usually just a small animal. But, this sound was heavy, and the impact of the crunching that followed the rustling sounded like that of a very large, heavy man. I froze in my tracks. More crunching and what sounded like, was that snorting? It now sounded like tree branches even very high up were being broken. I slowly turned to face the spot and, still rooted firmly to the ground, searched the woods for a clue to these ominous sounds. I saw nothing and then, as I scanned the forest, the sound suddenly stopped. This scared me even more, and so I began to back up, worry quickly turning into great fear that whomever or whatever it was out there had just spotted me, little, tiny, me. I continued to back up until I smelled this terrible stench suddenly come from everywhere. It smelled like doom. I stopped in my tracks as I heard the snorting again, only this time it was much louder and seemed to be coming from behind me. I froze like a popsicle and time seemed to stand still. When I finally managed to turn around, the stench becoming stronger with every steady but agonizingly slow movement, I could scarcely believe what I saw before me. It was a blur of fur and dark shadows, with red, glowing eyes that, someone was suddenly snapping their tiny fingers in my face. Hey, are we going to go or what? Hun? I replied. I blinked twice and realized I had been staring at the trail while I was thinking about what had happened. I had completely zoned out. Sissy was in front of me, hands on her hips in a demanding pose. She looked just like Mom when she did that.